Hey guys, we are live and just want to welcome Henry, of course. Henry and I have been chatting a little bit before we got started, but welcome, Henry. Thanks
nice to be here.
For coming. Well, didn't have to come anywhere, didn't have to leave the house, I guess. But it's cool to finally talk. Like I already told this to Henry before. It's good to finally be talking. We've chatted now and then plenty, but anyway, so we're hanging out today. We're going to talk about Iron Blooded Orphans. We're going to talk about episode 2 of Gundam the Origin, and then just open it up for just some Q&A. So as we're getting started, I'm monitoring the questions for you guys as well. So if you have questions, ask those in the chat. I'll be monitoring that to answer your questions. But we want to answer questions from you guys after talking about the anime series. So if you can, just hang on to your questions until that time. If I see some like really super awesome question, maybe we'll have to stop what we're doing and get into that. But otherwise, we're just gonna talk about the series a little bit first before we get into too much Q&A, sort of. So yeah, that's it. Which do you want to start with, Iron Blooded Orphans or Origins?
I guess we can go ahead and start with Origins.
All right. I just watched it last night, so that's good. It's very fresh in my memory.
Yeah, I saw it a few days ago, Monday, I think.
What'd you think?
But yeah, compared to the first episode, I think it was probably about on par in terms of quality. You know, the animation quality is obviously really, really good. They did a really good job of capturing the same look stylistically from the manga.
Yeah.
The artist, character design style, and things like that. But yeah, I really like the aspect of the development of mobile suits, where they started with the mobile worker test runs in there. I thought that was really interesting to see all that start up.
Yeah, it was cool when they were doing the testing, and like at the end after the fight, and Rumbaral was saying like, "Oh, it needs this." Like the cockpit is like a what?
Death trap.
Death trap. Like all this, and then Dozel's like, "All right, we'll put that into the next prototype." It's like, yeah, it's cool to see like that we're going to be able to see like this progression of these super robots.
I think they showed in the preview for episode 3 another prototype that like wasn't quite a Zaku 1, but something in between.
Yeah, exactly. It's like grayish.
Yeah.
It's definitely someone was telling me, I haven't checked the wiki links on that. It's some sort of prototype Zaku.
Yeah, it was like an MS-01 or something.
I'm sure we'll be getting a kit of it in a few months anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah, I agree about the animation style. It's a really good point. I love the animation style of it. It's like really kind of old school, but done very clean and crisply.
Right.
It does have a really, really nice style to it. One thing that you said as well that I agreed with after finishing watching it was that the Rumbaral portion of the story was a little bit more interesting in this episode than the Char and Sayla aspect, or Artesia and Casval. Yeah, you want to go? You told me about that, but go ahead.
Right. One thing I really like about the Origin is specifically the anime, because in the manga it's basically retelling Mobile Suit Gundam, and then we also get this backstory. But with the OVA, it seems that we're just getting the backstory of everything leading up to the 1 Year War. You really get a lot of character development with characters like Rumbaral and Dozel Zabi. So they're not just bad guys anymore. You actually have sympathy for these characters now and can see what they've been through leading up to the 1 Year War. And why they act the way they do and do the things they do.
Agreed. As much as I like First Gundam as a series, like a lot of the characters are kind of one-dimensional. I mean, it's just kind of the style.
Yeah, I mean, it was the 70s, so
yeah. They were just making it for kids, literally at that time. So I agree. It's really cool to see like more of the backstory. I haven't seen too much in terms of people saying like complaining that it's kind of boring. I think maybe the people who the kind of fans among the community who would think that it's boring are maybe just not watching it anyway because it's not particularly tailored.
It's not really action oriented. It's more character development oriented.
I've heard that complaint about Iron Blooded Orphans. That some people are thinking it's kind of boring so far, but we'll talk about that.
We'll get that out later.
But I mean, yeah, there's parts of the series that are slow, but basically, I'm kind of thinking of it as similar to like Unicorn. Like watching Unicorn, I don't really feel like I'm watching like an anime series, but just like a movie, just in some part at a time.
Right.
So, like in a movie, you can't have just like well, you can. I guess, but
Michael Bay movie, you can.
You can have constant action, but it's really cool to see these characters developing. Like you said, like that Ramboral is not just like this bad guy. Even in First Gundam, he wasn't that bad, really.
No.
It seemed like he was the kind of honorable villain kind of figure.
Right. So as far as Char's story goes, they're doing a good job of really showing up his deep-seated hatred for the Zabi family.
Yeah, I agree, but I thought it was kind of weird at the end of the episode. He made a very sudden change. It's like he really cares about Artesia. Huh?
He just snapped at the end,
Yeah. It's like the whole time he like really cares about Artesia. He's taking really good care of her, and then suddenly he's like, I just want to leave. It's like, that was a little bit sudden, it seemed like. But I'm sure there's going to be more conflict with that in episode 3.
Right.
I'm sure he's going to have regret about that or something.
Yeah, I guess he's getting to the point where his want for revenge is sort of overtaking his want to care for Artesia.
Yeah. I wonder if it just has to do with Artesia getting older. So maybe he feels like, okay, she's old enough now, I can go off and do it, or just like seizing the chance, because we don't know how this is actually going to. Well, I guess I haven't read the manga, so I don't know, but I'm sure it's explained in the manga how his relationship with Char, with Casval and Char, how Casval becomes Char. I don't know because I haven't read the manga. But
actually, looking at the episode 3 preview, I think that whole thing is going to happen pretty early on in the episode.
Yeah, agreed.
It looks like
it
looks like the majority of episode 3 is going to be a relationship between Char and Garma,
which is also going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to seeing a little bit more of Garma's character developed, because in the series, like, he was kind of cool, but like just kind of weird. And then it was cool, like the scene of Char getting his revenge finally and killing Garma was like very satisfying.
Right.
Because like you could see that, I mean, like he was getting his revenge, or it was like well illustrated, but now we're getting like a whole bunch more to that. So I think like after watching the origin and then going and watching like First Gundam again, it'll really add like a lot to that series, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, he's not just killing one of the Zabis. Garma was his best friend, but at the same time, he had to kill him to take his revenge.
Looking forward to it. Anyway, yeah. So Ramboral's story was, I think, more interesting in this episode, like you said. How about that bar fight scene? That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite scene in the whole episode.
He was really going to town, and then it was awesome how like Dozel comes in like with those guards, with the Xian soldiers, and he's just like, "What do you want?" kind of thing. Like, just like not even like worried a little bit. So it seems like he's not even like hiding. He's just kind of hanging out, and like the Zabis are just not really. He's not really high up on their priority list at the moment, apparently, or something.
Right. And then they killed his dad, Jinbaral.
Yeah, there was a lot of death in this episode as well.
Yeah.
Jimbaral died. What? Astrea died. The cat died.
Yeah.
Died.
You think Tamino wrote it?
Yeah. So it was definitely. I mean, it's fair to say the episode in general was definitely darker, a little bit slower than episode 1.
Right.
Obviously, didn't have like episode 1 was basically just kind of bookended by big action scenes. We had the opening,
Yeah,
and the ending with the gun tank really tight. And this one was just kind of had little bits of action kind of thrown in.
Yeah.
In here in between,
which I'm perfectly okay with. I mean, I'm one of those people where I like seeing dialogue and character development and things. I mean, action is nice, but it doesn't have to be constant for me.
Yeah, I agree. But if people complain that it's like a little bit slow or boring or something like that, I obviously see where people are coming from, but it's just one of those things. It's just not for everyone's particular taste.
Yeah. It's just personal preference.
What do you think about the like mobile suit animation? It's very CG looking.
Yeah.
Particularly, I'm not too big of a fan of that look, but
I like 2D hand-drawn animation better.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not doing a bad job with the CG. Again, I think it just comes down to personal preference. Some people like it, some people don't.
I think in this episode it looked better than in episode 1, though.
Yeah.
The first
the first scene from episode 1, it felt almost kind of like a video game.
Yeah. I agree, exactly. So that was a little bit jarring. I didn't really care for that too much. I think maybe one reason that this in episode 2 it was not so bad is because it was much simpler. It wasn't like a huge space battle. It's just the mobile worker.
Right. There was so much going on in that first scene that it was hard to keep up with at times.
Yeah, I feel like I need to like watch it in slow motion to really enjoy like seeing all the action like going on, because it's a really awesome scene. But yeah, it goes like so fast.
Yeah.
It's just sort of an illustration to the skills of Char, though, I guess, too.
All right.
And the Black Tri-Stars. That's the other thing, too, about episode 1. It's cool to see the Black Tri-Stars before they're Black Tri-Stars.
Right. When they were testing out the mobile worker.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I didn't even know that Black Tri-Stars and Ramba Ral had any previous relationship.
Yeah, me either. And so it's really cool, and cool how like they're like looking up to Ramba Ral.
Right.
Sort of. I mean, still sort of like challenging him. It's like my hat.
Yeah.
Just opened up that store and had to get some test stuff first. So this is my test one. It's cool that like the Black Tri-Stars we think of as a pretty like elite team, and Ramba Ral, I mean, as well. But it's cool like to see that even they are like acknowledge that Ramba Ral is like a really good soldier.
Looking up to Ramba Ral senpai.
Anything you didn't like about it?
Not off the top of my head. I don't know. I'm pretty easy to please, so I don't really complain very much about anime and things like that.
For me, I think like the only thing that really comes to mind, like I said, it was that kind of very sudden switch in Char's attitude at the end.
Right.
I'm sure that will be kind of explained a little bit more later. And also, I don't know, but I thought the characters were good. That the guy, what was his name? The large Italian.
Taking care of the T.
Tolbo or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Who was taking care of Caspal and Artesia. That guy was a cool character.
Yeah.
It was cool that like he could have been like very one-dimensional and simple as well, but I think his character was done pretty well as well.
Right. I'm surprised he didn't die.
Yeah, right. That was a very shocking ending there, that he was still alive.
It felt like what, 4 stories?
I guess it's one of those things that like doesn't matter how far they fall. If they fall onto like a cart of vegetables, then they'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah, I was really expecting that scene before he like crashes backwards through the window. I thought that like Char was gonna blast through the window behind him or something.
Right.
Who was the guy in the suit of armor? I think it never really showed that.
It never showed. I could just a random assassin, I guess.
I figured it was gonna be like someone like important.
No, after I watched the episode, I flipped through the manga to that scene, and it's pretty much exactly the same as the OVA, so it doesn't really show who it was.
There was no nudity in this episode.
Thank God. I could have done without seeing Kashiria naked.
That was a little bit shocking in episode 1. And going into this episode, I didn't even think about that until she came. She was in the episode too, very briefly, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if she's in this episode as well. But yeah, she was not, and neither was anyone.
No.
There was very little, I think, in terms of that sort of fan service. We had the scene of Sayla swimming, which seemed like kind of like that, but she's so young. That's weird. But,
it was nice to see the Mirai and Amuro cameos, though.
Yeah, that's a good point too. It was really cool. I really like Mirai. She's one of my favorite characters from First Gundam, actually.
Yeah,
that was really cool. And yeah, Amuro, he was just kind of a crying kid. It's pretty much the same as in the series.
Yeah, his backstory isn't nearly as involved as Char.
Yeah. But do you think he's going to appear again later?
Amuro?
Yeah, in the origin.
Maybe. You know, all his backstory really is being an angsty teenager and tinkering with computers and stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't come back, because there's really not any need. I mean, they showed him as like a cool little cameo, and it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
For that moment. They really don't need to show anything else more than that, because like you said, he doesn't really have too much of a backstory, anything involved with too much. His dad, I guess, kind of. So
yeah,
I don't know.
But even then, that's Federation side, and I think this OVA seems to be focusing more on the Xeon side of things.
Yeah, good point. I guess if the well, because if it follows Sayla a bit, but then she doesn't get involved until around the same time as Amuro anyway, so
right.
I guess it wouldn't really, probably won't go too much into anything in Federation. That's true. We may see more of Amuro's father.
Right.
In like some like news bit, they'll be like watching the news. Federation's got this guy who's developing a mobile suit or something.
And at the screening for episode 2 in Japan, there was apparently some sort of little short showing the awakening of the RX-78. I
think you can watch that online, can you?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so.
I've just seen the still from that, the same. I haven't seen the video.
It got me too.
I figured it's like a very, very short video.
Yeah.
But I have not watched that yet either. So episode 3 looks cool. I guess we're gonna see how Casval becomes Char or Edward.
Right.
In the version that you watched it with subtitles, right?
No, yes, subtitles. Yeah.
And was Edward spelled very strangely?
Yeah, it's like EDOUARD or something.
Yeah. It's kind of odd. I guess maybe that's like a Italian spelling of the name or something like that.
I guess, yeah.
Something is kind of awkward because I didn't really know how I was supposed to be reading that as I was seeing it in the subtitles, but then I figured it's just Edward basically. But yeah, so we'll see how he becomes Char, how he becomes friends with Garma. I wonder how like obvious it's gonna be that he like really hates Garma, or if like how well he's gonna be playing off like
right
friends for now, kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. What else are you looking forward to in episode 3?
Is looking at the trailer for it, it almost kind of gave off like a 8th MS team vibe. Like Garma and Char both, being rookies just getting out in there into the Xeon military. And I think that'll be an interesting aspect, especially since, mobile suits aren't really, well, they're there, but they're not really mass produced at this point. So it'll be more like ground combat, like hand-to-hand stuff.
Yeah, you could see them with the rocket launchers and stuff, and just regular rifles. Yeah, that would be really cool. It's a good point. We had the scene of like where they're like camping out. What I was gonna say, Rumbarol, not Rumbarol. Garma is like under that cover.
Oh, yeah.
Next to him in the rain. So yeah, that looks like it's going to be a really interesting scene, seeing like what they're talking about there.
Right.
Cool. Hopefully the basketball scene is not too long or involved because it doesn't really look very interesting. Probably just be one of those things where it's just like a 10-second thing, like they're in the gym, they'll exchange like a couple of words and like just do like a slow motion shooting shot and then scene.
It would be like the tennis match from Death Note.
I've not watched Death Note. That was one thing I wanted to say at the beginning of this video, was that I think you probably have a lot more experience with a lot more anime than I, so you will probably have more insight in that way. I have not really watched too much in my life, to be perfectly honest, other than Gundam and a few others.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yes. So, anything else about the origin we want to say?
I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah. I think, that was basically all the characters we got introduced to. Was there... I'm just seeing something in the chat, and someone's talking about the invention of the Minovsky particle.
Right. Dr. Minovsky is going to be in episode 3.
Yeah, so that will be a thing, too. Yeah, it'll be cool to see the prototype Zaku. And I wonder if the mobile worker is going to appear at all again in episode 3 at all.
Yeah. If not, then some sort of enhanced version of it.
That'd be cool. All right, so then Iron Blooded Orphans.
All right.
G Teketsu.
I'm really liking it so far.
Me too.
It really kind of reminds me of 00, but at the same time, it's got that real down-to-earth feel to it. And I like the characters. Well, some of the minor characters are just sort of there, but the main characters, I'm liking where they're going with them development-wise.
I said this recently in a post as well, as that like actually one of my favorite characters is the Akihiro, the side character. He's like the leader of the human debris.
Right.
I'm really liking his character. He hasn't had too much to do.
Right.
But, he's one of my favorite characters in the series. I was expecting, before the series started, and even like, I am just trying to think about episode 1. No, I mean, just before the series started, just like based on the artwork that we got, I wasn't really expecting to really like the characters too much, because I don't really care for the animation style of the characters for the most part.
Right.
But I've really enjoyed a lot of the characters as well. Even the female characters are not like, so, I mean, they're very typical kind of Gundam female characters.
Right.
But still, like, not bad, I think.
Yeah. I like the relationship between Orga and Mikazuki. And I know you said you have watched a lot of anime, so you probably haven't seen Gurren Lagann.
No.
But it honestly kind of worries me that Mikazuki and Orga are going to have a Simone Kamina type relationship. And people who have seen it know that that doesn't really end well for Orga. So I don't know. I get this feeling that maybe Orga is going to get killed off at some point, and that's going to be like a motivation for Mikazuki. But I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure some other people watching will know what you're talking about. I have a feeling that Orga is going to get a little bit too power driven, and his ideals, like as much as Mikazuki follows him, like
Right.
very loyally, I think there's going to come like a breaking point when Mikazuki's like, "Yo, this is like too much," and they're gonna have to like part ways.
Yeah, I can see that
And
happening.
at that point, become enemies. That's what I'm feeling like is gonna happen. Yeah, but I don't know. That's what I'm expecting, but I kind of hope not, because I agree. I like their relationship now. It's quite interesting.
Right.
Mikazuki is very strong and independent, but he really only answers to one person.
Right.
Orga basically just does whatever he wants to do. Does
At
whatever he
the
wants him to do.
yeah, before the series started, I assumed that Orga was going to be a pilot, but it's interesting that he fell more into the captain role.
Yeah, that is a good point. I wonder if maybe later if he's going to become a mobile suit pilot or just not. Basically just keeping his role as just sort of their leader from afar, basically.
Yeah, he has some piloting skills because he pilots the little tank things.
So, and he has, I won't be able to remember the name. Whatever the name of is that operation they have on their back.
Right. I can't remember the name either.
Glay, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, someone will put it in the chat. When I see it there in the chat, I'll say it. But yeah, I guess Orga has that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's interesting that different characters have different numbers of those plugs.
Yeah,
like Mikazuki has 3, Akihiro has 2, I think.
I've said this before, as well, is that it has a really, I'm getting a really strong like Metal Gear Solid feel, especially Metal Gear Solid 5, maybe just because it just came out, but it has a really similar vibe to it, I think.
Right.
Have you noticed that? What do you think?
Yeah, especially with like the private military company type thing that that they're a part of. I think really lends to that.
Seems like Mikazuki is like our Snake, Orga's like Kaz, and then Ocelot would be Akihiro.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, they're just doing my job, and I'm a badass. Kaz is like power crazy, but still like all for the bros.
Right.
So I don't know, very interesting. And then of course, yeah, the whole like paramilitary thing going on.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I think that's probably what I'm liking the most about what's setting this series apart from previous series before, is that like the group of main characters that we've got. Because like ultimately, it's like some people out in space fighting for independence from the people on Earth, which is, it's been done quite a few times in the Gundam universe, right?
Right.
So I mean, like in its bare bones, the story is really not that original, but it does seem it has aspects of it that are original enough that it definitely is set apart from anything else.
Right. Before. I like the fact that they've terraformed Mars in this series.
Yes, it's taking place much farther away from Earth.
Right. Because in Gundam Age, they tried to do Mars, but you know the whole last third of Gundam Age got sort of carried away with itself. But
I've not watched Gundam Age yet.
But anyway, the
series I haven't watched yet.
But I think they did a better job of handling how humans would colonize Mars in Iron Blooded Orphans.
That the people would just be sort of treated as kind of disposable.
Right, right. How it's I don't know. It just seems more realistic because in Gundam Age, they were on this like giant colony that was out at Mars, and they were getting some sort of Mars sickness, and they started attacking Earth because they wanted to come back. And
It's complex, and so now I guess we can get to the point of one of the biggest complaints I've heard is that people are complaining that it's kind of boring, like how they're diving into more of like economics of
Right.
their group, and I don't, if they didn't have that, I would kind of think that it's too simple.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to throw in, you know, things like economic issues and social issues and things like that to make it so it's not just, you know, one dimensional.
Agreed. I think the balance of action and non-action has been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
There could be more action, sure, but there really hasn't so far. I mean, there hasn't been any need for anything more because they're still like just kind of getting going in their adventure, what they're going to be doing, and the action that we have seen is so good. It's like,
yeah, the scene from the last episode where they were you know, rocketing the ship around the asteroid. I thought that scene was great.
that was really cool. And when the Barbatos comes out of the ship, it just like the ship doors open, there's all the smoke, and like they're like, oh, good trick. Like they think like that was just the trick, just like blowing the doors off. And the barrel of the cannon comes out. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job with the action scenes in the show, I think. Like the first episode, especially when Barbatos comes out, was really good as well.
Pretty much every scene, really, that we've had, including like mobile suits fighting, has been really awesome.
Right.
The fight with the Commander Greys versus the Barbatos, their like duo.
Oh, right.
That was awesome.
And that, I think, shows off a really interesting part of Mikazuki's character, how cold-blooded and ruthless he is.
It was. Someone made a good point here. In the chat. I want to get back to it in a second. But yeah, I agree. The ending of that, where like in pretty much any Gundam series in the past, probably if that was the case and the guy was like, I'm done, like you win, the main character probably would not have killed him.
Yeah, Mikazuki killed him mid-sentence.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and that, I mean, in the series, we're seeing how cold-blooded he is in almost every episode, and how obsessed he is with eating those candies, whatever he's eating the entire time.
Yeah, they're like beans or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was in like the last episode that they did finally say the girl, Atra, what was her name? I think the
Atra
brought the bag of them, said like, yeah, there were some beans or something.
Right.
I wonder if those have any significance actually, if like they have some sort of chemical enzyme or something in the beans that are like good for people on Mars, something like that.
I haven't seen anyone else eating them though.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
It might just be a character quirk.
Yeah, which is cool in itself. One thing that someone said in the chat, I just want to mention quickly, is that all Gundam series have a political plot to them, which is true. I mean, it's a fair point, which is what I thought when people were saying that the story's kind of boring. I thought like, it doesn't really seem too different from any other series. There's always that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, because I mean, you really can't have war without politics involved.
Yeah, and personally, what I think in this case, it's more interesting because it's more realistic. It's not just this all like war ideology kind of stuff. It's just kind of like blah blah. It's just like actual like rational stuff. Like, oh, we need money. Let's do this job. Oh, are you gonna pay us this money? Yeah, but these old guys are gonna fuck us over like that.
Right.
And someone said they're Mars plums, Mars dates. One of the two, maybe it's the translation, but something like that. Mars dates what he's eating there.
What do you think about the mobile suit designs for Iron Blooded Orphans?
Before the series started, the Greys, I love the Greys.
Yeah.
The Barbatos, before the series started, I was not a big fan. When we first saw the Barbatos, I was really not impressed at all. It was like, I think like the first image that we saw of it was that like
Yeah.
That thing looked pretty awful in my mind. I was not happy about that at all.
Oh, right.
As we saw it more, it kind of grew on me a little bit, and I think it's just that certain parts of the design I like and certain parts I really dislike.
Right.
But of course, seeing it in action in the anime makes me like it a lot more. And I definitely like it a lot more than I did. It's still not like one of my favorite Gundam designs, but I like it. As far as the other mobile suits, we've really, in the series so far, we've only other thing we've seen is the Greys, which, like I said, I really enjoy. I don't know. What about you?
I kind of like you. There's things I like about the Barbatos, and there's things that I don't really like about it. I think it has, like, with some tweaking, it could be a really good looking mobile suit. I wonder if he's going to get like a mid-season upgrade or not. The mobile suits, almost with the exception of the Greys, kind of remind me of the stuff from Reconquista NG.
Yeah.
Especially like the upcoming Gundam Kimaris and Gushian.
Yeah.
Those look like they were taken straight from Reconquista NG.
Yes, exactly. I very much agree. I was just saying that in the I said I've been thinking a couple of videos, but yeah, I definitely agree. The Gushan, especially in the Manrodi, those like look exactly. They look so similar to the Space Jahannam, except like bigger, bulked up versions. But like the exterior details on them and just like certain aspects of the design are so similar.
I need to look that up and see if it's the same mecha designer.
Yeah, I wonder, because I don't think it is, right? But as far as what I can remember, I don't believe. I remember reading like when the staff was announced, like the director and animators and stuff, and like checking out all of their history. I don't remember seeing any of them that had worked on Reconquista NG, if I remember correctly, but could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, I totally agree. Some of those designs look exactly like they were just like leftovers from Reconquista NG. That Bandai had already taken the time to, or not Bandai, but Sunrise and whoever the animation team was on that team had like made these designs, and Sunrise was like, well, we really like those designs. It's kind of a waste to not use them, so let's put them in the new series.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's happened plenty of times in Gundam.
So I would say it's probably a fair bet. Either way, I mean, it's nothing to complain about. For the most part, they look really cool. So
I just wonder how many Gundams are going to end up being in this series. Because we already got 3 that we know of. The naming system they've been using comes from demonology.
Which is cool.
And in I looked it up on Wikipedia. There's like 200 something demons of hell, and apparently, or maybe it was 300, but I'm guessing they're gonna have the story like there's 200-300 Gundams that were in the Calamity War 300 years ago, and the ones we're seeing now in Iron Blooded Orphans are the ones that survived through it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's basically what it's going to be, is that there was once a lot more, and we'll see just whatever's left over, whatever has survived this far. I think so, yeah. And we'll probably
gives it kind of a Turn A feel as well.
Yeah, in that way, it does kind of have a lot. But that's one thing that like I feel in Turn A, you really felt like that like there was something a lot more that happened like so long ago. In this series, I haven't really felt that so far. That like they don't really talk about it much, and
they've mentioned it here and there.
So I don't really have the same feeling as with Turn A, as that history. It doesn't really seem to be as prevalent in this series, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it could be more so later when they start to develop more of like a backstory to this story that's happening. And yeah, a lot of the stuff they talk about, someone mentioned something about like the Ahab reactor used in the Gundam as well. Another thing, just like a lot of cool stuff that we're just not really having a whole lot of detail in.
Kind of like they're just name dropping at this point.
Yeah. So I wonder how much of that is going to be really explained more in the series, or just left to like the Gunpla instruction manual information.
Right.
We'll have to see. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the series. I imagine at the moment it's slated for 26 episodes, but I don't know. Have you heard about that?
I have. Well, yeah, it's I think 25 episodes, but I have heard that it's probably going to get a second season, similar to Double O.
It's off to a very good start, so it seems like that. They shouldn't have any trouble getting it to do a second season as long as they've got some sort of story worked out. But that's the thing. I guess that's a good point. Is like, where do you think the story is going to go? I mean, because we've got like their adventure they're on currently. They're going to Earth, taking the princess there. But what do you think? I mean, the overall arc is going to be them fighting for Mars independence. But I kind of wonder.
Yeah, they're sort of leaving Mars behind now at this point.
Yeah. I expected us to spend a lot more time at Mars, and I'm sure we'll probably come back later. But
it was episode 5, and we're already gone. That's what I was expecting too. I was expecting, you know, all these hordes of mobile suits from Earth coming to Mars and starting a fight there. But they've taken a different direction, going to Earth, which they're obviously going to encounter a lot of resistance once they get there. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that.
Yeah, it will be interesting. That's a good point. I haven't really thought too much about like when they actually get to Mars. I mean, when they get to Earth.
Yeah, they've got a ship and 2 mobile suits, so it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and one of their mobile suits is just a sort of barely fixed up version of the enemy mobile suit.
Right.
Gray's Kai is really super cool, though.
I think I actually like the Gray's Kai more than the Gray's.
Yeah, I do as well. It has, and just the Gray's by itself already has that very much frame arms look to it.
Yeah.
The Gray's Kai, I think, even more so with the shape of the shoulders and the head there.
Right.
And the fact that they're just like that different white color.
Yeah. That's one of the things I like about the Grays. It has that kind of like the Zaku. It has that MSV factor to it where you can just do unlimited modifications to it and make all these different variations.
And then we have that new image out just today of another version of the Grays that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, the silhouette.
So someone was saying, I mean, we don't know if it's going to be a, I don't know how to pronounce it, Gjallarhorn?
I think it's pronounced Gaiahorn.
Gaiahorn? Yeah. A Gaiahorn variation of the Grays, or the Gray's Kai upgraded.
Maybe.
Could go either way. I don't know. As much as I like the Grays, and I built the Gray's kit, it's a really super nice kit, I don't really want us to get like a million variations of that kit.
Yeah, that could get old pretty quick.
I mean, like, we have a million different versions of the Zaku, but like it's been around for 30 years, so
right.
I don't want like within the span of like 6 months to have like 6 different versions of the Grays. So we already got 2 different P Bandai kits announced as well of the Grays.
Yeah, aren't they just straight recolors?
The blue Grays is just a recolor. The purple one is of the Schwalbe Grays, which is also just a recolor, but it comes with the shield and the lance rifle from the part set.
Right.
So basically, you just buy the Schwalbe Grays and option.
You can make it yourself.
Yeah. And then you also have the cannon for the Barbatos as well. So like,
right.
I don't know, but you know, for people who don't paint, it's a cool kit.
Yeah.
You haven't got any of the Iron Blooded Orphans kits yet, have you?
No, I'm on the fence about getting the 1/100 scale Barbatos. But at the same time, I really like the giant mace, which kind of makes me want to get the 1/144 scale version. So, can't decide.
I'm sure we're gonna get the mace in 1/100 scale, I would say, but the 1/100 scale Grays is coming with the shield parts for the gauntlet arm.
Right.
So I have a feeling that maybe another kit, possibly if we get a 1/100. I saw someone left a comment on one of my videos or something, I think earlier today, saying this, and I think it's a very good guess, is that we might get a 1/100 scale Gray's Kai, and then that one will come with a mace that can be used for the Barbatos. That is a pretty good prediction, I think. It could be very possible. And that'd be to not make a 1/100 scale mace is kind of does not make sense.
Yeah, and it's a good marketing strategy by Bandai, because that would give people incentive to buy more of the kits.
Right, exactly. I think that is a good point. With this series so far, with the kits, it seems like Bandai is really on top of their marketing of these kits, getting people to buy as much as possible.
Right.
Keeping the price down low, the separation of accessories and stuff.
I've actually been surprised at how cheap these kits have been.
It's good, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and such a low price, yet having full inner frames on high grades.
Yeah. They're really great kits from just building the Barbatos and the Grays so far.
Right.
This guy needs it's on the to-do list. There are the Schwab Grays as well. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like some of the later kits that like the Gushan and the Hyakuri.
I really like the Hyakuri and Hyakuren.
Yeah.
I think they look really cool.
I think so too. The Hyakuren head, I'm still not too much of a fan of, but it's just the head basically. I can't look at it without seeing like an Italian slick back hairstyle. That's all I see when I look at that kit.
Yeah. What do you think of the main bad guy, McGillis?
I guess he's going to be our Shark character, but
yeah, he's giving off kind of a Trey's Kushanada vibe to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we really haven't seen that much. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's really all that developed yet compared to the other characters in the series.
Right.
So I don't really know.
Yeah, but he kind of has that cool, composed vibe to him,
definitely,
which I kind of like.
Yeah, he definitely seems like that, like what I said before about Rambaral. Not exactly in the same way, but he's
the honorable villain.
Yeah, he's the soul is like the gentlemanly soldier, or kind of honorable villain kind of character. So yeah, he is. He's definitely seems like he's going to be an interesting character. I hope. It could end up being that he's not really all that interesting, and it's like, well, I don't know.
It was kind of the same thing with what was it, Crank, the older Grace pilot that Mikazuki killed.
He was interesting.
Yeah,
and
I like that. I like it when you know, the bad guys, the quote unquote bad guys, aren't necessarily really bad people. They're just doing their job.
Yeah, how like he didn't want to fight, but he was so dedicated to his job as a soldier that like he had to do it, and like basically completely gave up like honor doing that by giving his like pin thing to the other young guy. So yeah, I mean, I guess the McGillis will probably be more developed, and I'm guessing that he'll later come to pilot a Gundam.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But which one, I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that he might be piloting the Kimaris. It's just my guess. We'll have to see. Yeah. It's using a lance, which his Grays uses.
Right.
So it could be.
Just as long as he doesn't wear a mask.
Yeah, watch, like he'll be in a battle and like his face will get scarred and then he puts on a mask.
But when they first announced Iron Blooded Orphans, that's one of the things I said. As long as there's nobody in a mask and nobody with psychic powers, I'll be happy. Yeah,
we haven't seen any sort of like new type abilities, psychic stuff going on yet. I mean, Mikazuki has abilities, and like they had in episode 5, he had that thing where like that was cool. How like they targeted the weak point of the Barbatos. Like malfunctioning thruster in the backpack or something. But like Mikazuki was like able to like immediately identify that.
Right.
So I mean, he kind of has that supernatural ability a little bit, but it's more
It's
not like
the system that he has implanted in him.
Yeah. So in that way, it's basically similar to like basically like G Gundam, where he's basically able to fight using the Gundam as like his body,
His own body, right?
Which is cool. I mean, and basically that's kind of like what the new types are doing as well. But it,
yeah, they do it through a psycho frame, but Mikazuki's doing it through a hardwired connection in his spinal column.
So I think they are handling that magical aspect of it pretty well so far as well. I mean, who knows where it could go later on in the future, but it does seem to be very grounded. Like you said before, the series seems to be very well grounded, like in reality for the most part, as real as it can get.
And it's a bit darker than our more recent Gundam series.
Yeah, that's true too. A lot of people were hoping that it was, I mean, before it came out and we had like the trailer for the series and it was looking like to be a little bit more darker, grittier.
Right.
I don't think it's as gritty as it could be, but it's definitely pretty intense. I mean,
which I think is something a lot of people have been wanting lately.
Yeah.
At least from the people I've talked to.
Yeah, I agree. And especially after Build Fighters. And Build Fighters was fun, but like it's
nice to have that balance.
Yeah. See something with a little bit more backbone to it, like just a little more substance.
Yeah.
Rather than just fun. I mean, like Gundam's fighting is fun and all of that, and like the story was funny. But
and it's good that you can have a series or a franchise rather, where you can have something lighthearted and playful that younger people can enjoy, like Build Fighters, and then have something like G Teketsu, where it's geared more towards a older audience.
Yeah, definitely, because Gundam has a very wide age range of fans, so they can't stay focused on one particular age group for too long, right? Because then they'll start to alienate a lot of the fans. And that's a good point too. I think just talking with a few of the guys, especially like the guys that I do Gunpla talk with, some of the older guys in the community, like you and I too, I suppose. But it seems like a lot of older people maybe are not really getting into Jiteketsu quite yet.
Right.
Maybe waiting for the story to progress a little bit more. And I mean, it's kind of too bad that that's the case. That like it seems like maybe in the past, like as soon as a new Gundam series started, like everyone wants to check it out. But after Reconquista, which most people didn't like, and Build Fighters, which a lot of the older fans in the community, older guys and girls, I guess, too, in the community, didn't really care for it too much. Seems like a lot of like the older guys are maybe a little bit hesitant now.
I mean, I don't know. Of course, a lot of it might just be like nostalgia factor because they grew up with like Zeta Gundam and Char's Counterattack and the 1 Year War, so they're more receptive to those older shows and things like that. So they'd be more likely to be interested in things that are similar in style to those older Gundam series.
Yes, sorry, I need to address. Someone asked me like 3 times now if that's a Shinanju behind me. I don't know where you're seeing any Shinanju behind me, but there's not. That's an Astray, and I was trying to see what's red behind me. Nothing.
Is that a Evangelion?
That up here this is all Evangelion here, Evangelion, and then this is a Shin Megami figure there as well. Megami Tensei figure there. So no, there's no Shinanju, and up on that higher shelf, there's no Shinanju there either. More Evangelion and a couple of Gunpla kits. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to answer that because he was very adamant to know if there's a Shinanju behind me. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else about the series? Anything that you don't care for in the series so far?
I guess the only, I don't even know if I really even call it a complaint. The animation is really, really good sometimes, but there's other points where the animation is sort of subpar, like with the characters, I think. The mobile suit animation, I think, has been really good, but I've noticed some of the character animation hasn't been quite up to snuff.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. Actually, very good point. Like I said before, I didn't really care too much for the character animation, and yeah, that's just because of how like kind of simple and kind of generic it seemed.
Right.
I think at this point, there's so much anime and manga out there. It would be really hard to really have character designs that are not sort of generic looking in some way, as they're just
it's
anime.
hard to make anything unique anymore because everything's been done.
So that's not too much to complain about, really. But yeah, I definitely agree with your point that the animation is not really consistent in that way. I felt like Reconquista NG, despite whatever you want to say about the story, the animation was beautifully done.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
And very consistent in terms of like you said, the characters and the Gundams and the backgrounds as well. It all had a very consistent feel to it, where this one has it feels sort of cheap, kind of honestly, where like the backgrounds are usually just kind of this very, very detailed, but just kind of like painted background scene, and then like the characters are really simple. The Gundam animation though is really nice. That's the best part. So that's, like I said, like although the action is there's not very much of the action, but when we do get it, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's very well designed action and very well animated. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I
think that's just the way animation studios work. Is you've got a group of people animating the show. Some of them are better than others, so you can't have your top tier animator doing every single scene, otherwise he'll die from overwork.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is.
And I mean, I don't know how like the schedule works of them actually doing the animation, but they're doing a episode a week. So like, I don't know if they're actually doing it that way. But anyway, the point is that they're doing 26 episodes, so it's not like they just need to work on like one film or one movie, or like even with The Origin, where it's like two
episodes a year.
Yeah,
it's got a lot more time to put in effort.
So you kind of have to take that into account, and it's like you said, it's pretty usual. That's how a lot of series work, falling into that sort of animation style. But yeah, I definitely get what you mean about that. But it hasn't been jarring in a way at all.
No. I mean, there's plenty of anime I've watched where you have an animator doing one episode that's really good, and the next episode looks like it was drawn by a kindergartner. So
yeah,
ZakuAurelius isn't nearly that bad.
There's a lot worse cases, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too, it's the same. I really haven't found anything too much to complain about the series. It's really surpassed a lot of my expectations of what I was expecting for it. I was a little bit cautious at first, and even after the first episode, I watched the first episode and I was like, it seems all right, but I don't know, not really that great.
And there's no telling where it'll go, because like with Gundam Age, the first portion was okay, and then the second third was pretty good, and then the last third was terrible. So
I guess I need to watch that. I've heard stuff about Age, not a lot, but a few times recently, where it just seems like I need to just watch it, apparently.
Yeah.
Are there any series, this is kind of off from Iron Blooded Orphans, but are there any series that you have not seen?
Gundam series?
Yeah.
The only one that I've watched portions of every series. I've actually seen every series except for Reconquista NG. I've only seen like half of it because I honestly just lost interest. I got about halfway through it and I found that I just didn't care about anything that was going on, so I just quit watching it. But I've seen every other Gundam series.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think I'm through episode 9, maybe, of Reconquista NG. It's great when you're watching it, but then like I don't really ever feel like, man, I really want to watch the next episode. It's like,
Yeah.
there's not really anything going on that I'm like excited to find out what's going to happen because I don't really know what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I dropped off about episode 13.
I'd like to finish it though, at least. So I'll have to get around to doing that. I have not watched Age, as well as Victory. I've only got halfway through Victory.
Right.
I have like a handful of episodes left of Double Zeta that I need to finish at some point as well.
There's a few Gundam series, I think, where they sort of forced them to go the full 50 episodes when really it could have been done in 25 or 26.
Yeah.
Double Zeta and Victory are two that come to mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you talking about Double Zeta? Because it seems like that's exactly what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to say about Iron Blooded Orphans?
Can't think of anything.
Not me, really. Before we move on, give me a minute. I want to open my window here. It's a little bit warm. But it's also raining, so I don't want to get too much rain in here. Have you been monitoring, or monitoring? Have you been looking at the chat much? People have been not asking questions yet.
No, I haven't really been looking at the chat very much. Okay, now I'm looking at it.
For you guys who are watching, if you want to go ahead and ask some questions now, you can go ahead and ask questions for Henry or I. I want to, since we're still talking about the Gundam series, have you watched G Savior?
I have watched G Savior. Actually, have it on DVD. So,
Really?
yeah. I mean, it wasn't expensive. I got it for I think like $8, but
I'm sure. More than that.
It was. I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. I watched it recently. Has come on to YouTube that you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. So
right. I think I remember seeing that.
I watched a few minutes of it. I haven't had time to really sit down and watch the whole thing. I would like to watch. I mean, with all of Gundam, I want to at least watch it just so I have a frame of reference.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, I just said I'm gonna watch every Gundam series because at the time there was kind of like 5 Gundam series that I hadn't seen yet. So I watched, I think, like Victory Gundam, G Savior, C Destiny, and what's the CG one? MS Igloo, like all back to back.
I need to do that. Finish watching Double Zeta and Victory, and then watch Age. Getting into the questions here for a minute. The same person who asked me if there was a Shinanju in the room then later asked if I've ever built the Shinanju. Yes, I have. Someone asked, have you guys built the G Savior kit? I haven't. Have you?
No, it's kind of hard to find, I think.
Yeah, I think when I was in Japan in January, I saw some of it. Then I think it had just recently had a small run from Bandai, I think, at that time, because I did see it a couple times while I was there. But yeah, I don't see it that often.
Yeah, every once in a while, Bandai will do a production run on it.
I can't imagine that it sells that well.
No, there's some people that really like it, because I know a few people that like go out of their way to track it down and buy it.
What do you two think of people complaining about recent Gundam? Oh damn, I lost the question now. About the recent Gundam not looking like a Gundam. I think there was a guy, I think there's a channel, I think it's called Zeta Rise, something like that, I believe, who did a video about like what is a Gundam. Like that. Have you seen that video?
I don't believe I have.
It's pretty good. Anyway, recently since I'm watching that video, anytime I've seen someone asking like or mentioning something about like, oh, this doesn't look like a Gundam or this doesn't look like a Gundam, I refer them to that video. It's a really well done video. If you can get past a little bit of name butchering in the video,
Right.
It's a very, very well laid out video about like what is a Gundam and what's not a Gundam, and that basically just whatever Sunrise and Bandai say is a Gundam is a Gundam.
That's pretty much my opinion, because I mean they created it, so they get the final say.
If we had, you know, something that was like, I don't know, I would say a thing too. It's like if it's called a Gundam, that must be a Gundam. I guess is
right. And I think it's good to have more unique and different things put out there, because you know if you have Gundams looking the same over and over again, it's going to get boring.
There was that video that just came out, I think, sometime in the last day or two as well, about the one of the creators of G Teketsu was talking about their kind of creative process in designing Barbatos. Have you seen that?
No, I didn't see that either.
That was interesting because they were talking about basically how everything they wanted to do while designing the Barbatos was they just wanted to make it just everything totally different from other series.
Right.
Like the color scheme, but like every like lead Gundam was always like having some sort of square shoulders or something like that. So they wanted to make shoulders, and like the Gundams always have like a beam sword and beam weaponry, so they wanted to not have any beam weaponry.
Right.
And have a physical sword.
Sunrise has actually done a pretty good job here in the last few years of making some really unique designs. Because I remember when Gundam 00 first came out, people didn't like the Exia because it looked too different. And now when you compare like the Exia to the Barbatos, the Exia looks very Gundam-like.
Yeah, it's people will get over it, and it will be seen as a very Gundamish Gundam later.
That's usually about how it works. At the beginning of a series, people don't like it because it's different. And then by the time the series is over, everyone loves it. That's what happened with 00.
Well, it didn't work out for Turn A, but
no. I've seen Turn A getting a lot of love here lately.
That's good. I love Turn A. I don't know about you.
I like the designs for it. The story I thought is one of those series where I feel like it could have been done in 25 episodes instead of 50. But overall, I liked it.
Yeah, I could see that. Although, I mean, a lot of it, although there was a lot of like filler, kind of, didn't really seem. I mean, it seemed like filler, but it was enjoyable. It was fun.
Right.
A lot of that stuff was like funny, and it's kind of fun stuff going on. The whole like side story of him dressing as the character Lola.
Oh yeah.
Cross-dressing.
Right.
All that kind of weird stuff in this series. So I really quite like it. It's one of my favorite series actually. But yeah, I get what you mean that it could have been shorter. Okay, let's see. Zach, what do you think of the new box arts? I don't know which box arts he's talking about. I don't know. Any new box art that you've been excited about, Henry?
All of the G Teketsu box arts have been really nice. I don't know what his name is, but there's that one artist that does a lot of high grade box art for. He's doing the ones for like G Teketsu, and then he did like the Revive box arts are really really nice.
Yeah, I agree about that definitely.
Yeah.
Koma. Is that right?
I think he did like the box arts for most of the Unicorn high grades as well.
Anyway, on the Barbatos box, illustration by Koma, background image by Saito Yoshinobu. But I guess it'd be Koma. I guess would be the Gundam illustrator for that. I don't really pay attention to that as much as I should, I suppose, but I agree. The box art for the HG Iron Blooded Orphans kits is really nice. I really like the design of them.
Yeah.
It's cool to see a lot more Japanese on the box, like the front of the box.
Yeah, I think they've really, like usually they use a lot of English for Gundam series, but they've used a lot more Japanese for Iron Blooded Orphans. Even like the main logo is in the the vertical Japanese kanji.
Yeah, it definitely helps to give it a different feel,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have the typical, like most series, pretty much every other Gundam series for the most part has that sort of very similar kind of looking logo, like
Right.
opening title. And yeah, it's cool that this one is quite different.
Yeah.
Someone asked, Henry, you plan on buying the new Iron Blooded Orphan 1100 kit? You already mentioned about that, actually.
Yeah.
I would like to see your more realistic paint job for the Barbatos and the Grays.
I'm like I mentioned earlier, I'm sort of on the fence about getting the 1/100 scale Barbatos, but I feel like if I did get it, I would really want to weather it because I just think that that design lends itself really well to heavy weathering, and I think it would look really good.
I agree. Speaking of box art, that's some nice box art there, the 100 scale Barbatos.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
Really amazing. I really cannot wait for that box. And then let's see, there was something someone asked, which box art do you prefer, the Revive Mark II Ayug or Titans version? Those are both good box arts too.
Yeah, they look kind of similar to me, but
quite.
Yeah, I think all the Revive box arts are fantastic.
And I mean, even the other just recent HGUC kits have all been good. Like the V2 Assault Buster was also
right.
Really, a lot of the HGUC kits we've got for the past year or two have all had really nice box art.
Yeah.
The Build Fighters box art I haven't cared too much for because it's not really as nice, it seems like.
Yeah. Like some of them are really good, and then some of them are just sort of blah.
The most notably, the most recent one, where the Kamiki Burning Gundam was.
Oh yeah.
Not great.
Super Fumina's box art doesn't do anything for me at all.
Yeah, it's also kind of very. It just doesn't seem like there was as much time taken, whereas like seems like about half the time was used for that, as opposed to like the Revive, like the HG Revive kits or the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Build Fighters is starting to kind of quiet down, so they're probably putting more of their effort into the newer series.
Someone asked a prediction for the next RG. It's a good question. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of things I would like Bandai to make, but it's a different story on what Bandai will probably make.
I've come to the conclusion that there's just no way at all to predict what they're going to do because there's no rhyme or reason to anything that they do.
If I had to guess what Bandai would probably make, I would say Infinite Justice. Just because Bandai loves them some Gundam Seed.
And they had that, it was like announced and they were like, oh no, that was our mistake.
Right.
I kind of felt like they just announced it too early by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I agree. It's a good possibility.
I would love them to do a real grade of either the Goof or the GM.
Yes.
Of course, we've been getting a lot of Goof kits lately.
That's
so
true.
They might pass on a real grade.
Yeah, that's a good point. A GM, would be cool.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't done it already.
Either a GM, a Revive kit, or a G kit. One of the two. Hopefully they'll do sometime soon.
And they just announced a Revive Gion like 2 days ago.
That's cool. I'm not a big fan of the design of the Gion, but it's cool.
They really seem to be getting busy with this Revive line.
Which is good. Have you built any of them, just the RX-78-2?
I have the RX-78-2, but I haven't built it yet. It's still sitting in my backlog.
Great kits. Gun cannon as well, and the Freedom was all right. It was not. I wasn't as impressed with that one as I was with the Gundam and Gun Cannon, but it's definitely a huge improvement over the old HG. So it's a great kit, but it didn't do as much for me as the Gundam or Gun Cannon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some Xeon Revive kits. I'm definitely going to pre-order the Goof, and looking forward to a Zaku.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of the HGUC Zaku at all. The original one.
The regular original one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, right? But
it hasn't aged very well.
It would be cool to have that, and then obviously, of course, we would get like at least 1 or 2 P Bandai variations of that. Probably. Come to think of it, we haven't had any P Bandai Revive kits yet. The only exclusive one we're having is the G3, which is an Expo exclusive.
Right.
So I wonder what the first P Bandai. I would honestly, for the Mark II, I was expecting the AU version to be just a standard release, and I was expecting them to make the Titan version a P Bandai kit.
They sort of did the same thing they did with the Real Grey, just released both of them at the same time.
So
I don't know. They could make a RX-781 P Bandai.
Yeah, that's true. It seems like a little bit late at this point, but you know, they've certainly done like P Bandai variations very much later in the past.
Right.
So it wouldn't be too surprising. Someone asked,
they did
just
announce the P Bandai G Defensor.
Yeah.
Which I think is just like a re-release with new decals, but you know, intending it to use on the Revive Mark II.
Yeah. Someone asked, do you think we'll get a 3.0 MG Zaku 2?
Maybe. At this point, we could get that, or we could get a Master Grade Origin Zaku 2. So
that's what I'm kind of thinking as well.
And it's kind of got a choice to make there.
But at the same time, the Zaku 2.0 is so good. Like,
well, the Gundam 2.0 was really good.
And then the 3.0. Have you built a 3.0?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. It essentially looks, I mean, I haven't seen too much of a point because it looks so similar to the RG.
Right.
I don't know. Someone asked, MG Nataku or the Shenlong Verka, which I guess he means the Shenlong EW version. Which do you prefer? He means like which one would you buy?
Design-wise, I like Nataku. I like the Shenlong, but I like Nataku better just because I really liked the way it is portrayed in Endless Waltz.
Here's a question this person has asked a couple of times. So I better ask you: are you a fan of Kamen Rider? For you, I guess maybe he knows that I'm not. For you,
I have seen I think one episode of Kamen Rider Double, like 2 or 3 years ago, and that's it. I think here in the U.S., Kamen Rider Black came on, just like completely redone for a U.S. audience, the same way Power Rangers was. I think I watched a few episodes of that, but as far as like watching on a regular basis, no, I haven't seen much Kamen Rider.
Here's a question that's also been asked a couple times now. What top coat do you guys use?
I use all-clad top coats. They're really, really nice. I've got, you know, all of their different versions, gloss, semi-gloss, matte, and flat, and I just really enjoy using those.
Yeah, I know some all-clad products don't need to be thinned. They're pre-thinned. Is that right?
I think most of them are pre-thinned.
So the top coat as well?
You can use the top coat straight out of the bottle. Sometimes I like to add a little bit of thinner to it, not very much, but it's certainly usable straight out of the bottle.
And for me, I've got some Gaia Notes, just flat clear, that I just used like just for the first time. Otherwise, before that, I was just using the Mr. Hobby rattle can top coat cans. Those are pretty all right because I can get them cheaper here than in the States. They're going to be much more expensive, so not as economical if you have an airbrush especially, but if you don't have an airbrush, they work well.
I've been wanting to try Gaia Notes.
That's what was recommended to me by my friend here in Korea. and just using it the first time here, it worked out well. But I would like to try something else, and I need to get some glossy top coat, and I haven't decided what to buy yet. So I might try to get some Alclad if I can. If you recommend that, I don't know what else. Do you have any other recommendations for some glossy top coat?
A few people have issues with Alclad's gloss, like with it like not quite drying properly, and like they'll pick up their kit and like leave fingerprints on it or something. A few people use Future. Well, it's not called Future anymore, but the floor polish. It's a clear acrylic, and a lot of people like using that.
See, that's something that I would have to find like the Korean equivalent of that here, so I don't know exactly what that would be. That's the thing, is that's one of the difficulties about being like in Asia, either in Japan or Korea. Like obviously we have much better access to stuff here, but in terms of like online, when I want to look up like tutorials and stuff, and like I'm looking in English, so I'm looking at probably what is coming out of America for the most part.
Right.
Where they're talking about using stuff like that, like this Future or other kind of like not, or a lot of supplies that are great for there in America, but are not good for here, where we have different access to different supplies.
Right.
So yeah, anyway, I need to, for my perfect grade Banshee Norn, I want to use a gloss top coat for that, so I need to find out what's going to be the best for that. Someone asks, if you were Bandai president for a day, which kit would you force them to start developing?
Reborn 100 Leo.
That's a good one. That was one of the candidates.
Yeah, it was on the poster.
So that could be happening, possibly. I hope it does.
Yeah. I actually photoshopped my own version of that poster, and I think I left Kshatriya and Leo and a couple others on there, but I think I added like Maserao and GM3, a couple more on there that I would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, I thought the list that the image of candidates that they put out was good. Really, there's a lot of kits on there that people have been asking for a long time.
Reborn's Gundam.
So it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully at the Gunpla Expo we'll get some announcement, because it was, when was that? Last year's Gunpla Expo, or it was before that, wasn't it? That we got like more announcements for that. Anyway, but hopefully
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't have a lot of announcements this month in Hobby Magazine, so hopefully they're saving that for Gunpla Expo.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's what it is, because there was like nothing in like last month. The only like standard release kit that we had announced was the 100 Schwalbe Greys.
Right.
As far as I can remember. There was a load of figures because of the Tamashii Nation show.
Right.
Something I was gonna say about that. At Leo, I wish there was a master grade. It seems like it's such a iconic grunt mobile suit.
And building the master grade Tallgeese, it had the break points on the runners where you could see that they had a Leo in mind.
Yeah.
And like the little circular panel on Tallgeese's back comes off. Tallgeese doesn't have any need for that, but Leo Space Type does.
Yeah.
So honestly, I thought they were going to do master grade, but I guess they decided to go with the Reborn 100 instead.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe they just want to make the kit a little bit cheaper. But you think even a master grade wouldn't be that expensive, right?
Yeah, because the Leo is a really simple mobile suit.
Yeah. And then it's perfect for like, they make the regular Leo,
right?
Regular kit, and then they make the Space Type a P Bandai kit. It's perfect.
Yeah, just like what they did with Robot Damashi.
So I don't know if it gets I think we haven't had any P Bandai variations of any RE kits so far, but if that one gets made, we could see that. We'll have to see.
It'd be cool if they did a DJ SR.
That would be cool. There was the Converge figure of that one, right? Out last year or something.
Yeah.
That was a really cool one. Of that image that we got of the RE candidates, is the Leo the one you're looking forward to the most, hoping for the most?
That and Kshatriya. Of course, I think everybody is looking forward to a 1/100 scale Kshatriya.
Yeah, I think definitely. And I mean, I guess I'm just not as much of a fan of 00 as other people are, but the Reborns is another one. Like I see people wanting a Master Grade Reborns.
Ever since Gundam 00 aired, people have been wanting a Master Grade Reborns.
I was not that crazy about it, but yeah, it's one of the ones I see all the time.
Yeah.
Someone asked, Zach, is Henry entering GBWC? Are you entering GBWC?
I guess I probably should have made a video about that, but I did enter GBWC and won Best Large Scale at New York Comic Con, so that happened about a month ago.
Congrats! And I heard you're still waiting on your. I saw your delivery video, your last video, where you said you're still waiting on your prizes from Ed.
Apparently, he mailed them and just didn't tell me. I think it's supposed to arrive today, actually. So
okay, that's good. Yeah, let's see. We better address this question from Suitan before he asked me for like the 100th time.
Oh dear.
About the Master Grade Wing EW 2.0. I literally asked me this question like 100 times. So let's just lay it to rest. Do you think we're going to get a 2.0 Wing EW Master Grade?
We could. I mean, anything's possible. I think if they were going to, they would have, back around the time when they first started releasing these EW Master Grades like Death Scythe and Shenlong. Because I think if they were going to, they would have used the XXX G-frame runners to make it. So, and even then, the old Wing Gundam Verka and Wing Zero Custom, their inner frames are so similar to the EW Master Grades that I don't really see much of a point. But if they were going to make a 2.0, they would have to make it like really, really nice, like Gundam 3.0 or something.
I don't think it's going to happen. We just don't get 2.0s that much.
Yeah.
They're just not really common.
Yakushiki was our first 2.0 in, what, 5 years?
Yeah. So I think 2.0 and remastered versions of Master Grades, like we had the remastered Freedom or whatever.
Right.
Then it just doesn't do that very often. So there's really no point in even like hoping or predicting those kids anytime ever, because like if we get one, it'll be totally out of the blue and probably random. And
plus, Ben I's been hinting at doing all 5 of them in real grade, which honestly I think is kind of unnecessary.
Yeah. I said this before too, that it feels like I'm actually surprised that no one's really been hating on the fact that we're getting the Wing EW out as a real grade when it's so similar to the Wing Zero EW.
Right. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a P Bandai kit.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense. I think it probably could have been a P Bandai kit, but then people definitely would have complained about that. But haven't really seen too much complaints about this one coming out when it's a design that has never appeared in animation.
Right.
I think a lot of people were probably hoping that the next one of that series would have been the Death Scythe, probably, or some version of it. But
as far as real grade goes, I kind of hope they move back to Universal Century for a bit.
Me too. At least something. What was the last one we had? Was the Zigok?
Zigok.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully something else from Universal Century will be the next one. I don't know. Someone asked, what do you guys think of the metal build line? More specifically, the Exia Astria Type F that's coming out. Have you ever had any metal build kits?
No, I quit collecting figures a few years ago to just focus more on model kits. But I mean, they look really, really nice. I don't think I would ever pay that much money for one, but they're definitely impressive figures.
Yeah, agreed. Same with the like Gundam fixed figuration metal composite kits are so nice, but so
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. I mean, there's like the metal composite O Gundam looks so good,
Mm,
and I would love to have it, but I'm just not going to pay that much money for it.
mm,
I even feel that way about a lot of robot Damashis, like the
mm.
anime versions they just announced are like what,
Yeah,
5,000 yen?
something like that. Yeah,
They're just, hmm. And plus, I'd rather have something I can build and paint and make
yeah.
my own for half the price.
It's hard enough to want to spend like recently I bought the Assault Kingdom Kshatriya Repair, right?
Right.
And that was like $20. If you're getting it in the States, it'd probably be even more. Like
Yeah.
for me here, it was only like 20, and even that, like to spend $20 for like a figure that like it's cool to pose up and like it's a quite nice figure, but like if I could spend like $20 on a kit, that's gonna give me like hours and hours of something to do rather than just
Right.
like just having it. So yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to figures. Like a lot of them look really nice, but to spend the money on them, it's not really like what I'm into really.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I just got tired of, buying a figure and taking it out of the box, putting it on a shelf, and then it collects dust.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not too much fun in that. Um, Someone has asked a couple times, are you interested in Star Wars Bandai kits?
Um, I mean, I like Star Wars. I'm not a huge Star Wars super fan, but I wouldn't mind getting a couple of them.
I have the C3PO and R2D2 here, which I bought for my wife, actually.
I think we were talking about a little bit in the chat before the video started. I had mentioned that I'd like to get the Stormtrooper, Sand Trooper kits and build those.
As well as these, which you'll probably be interested in. But I'm sure you've had these before many times.
Yeah.
Those. Yeah, the Star Wars Bandai kits are nice, I think, and I just saw them before. Is HLJ able to now sell those again? Because I like just on Facebook, you know how HLJ posts like
Right.
ads for stuff for sale and stuff on their website. And I thought I saw one just like a couple hours before we started this briefly.
I talked to somebody from Bluefin who said that apparently Bandai is not allowed to sell those kits outside of Asia,
Right.
just due
Outside
to
of
licensing, or yeah, Japan, due to licensing issues.
Mm-hmm. But
so it was my understanding that HLJ couldn't ship them over here.
Right. Which, yeah, you're right, was the case. But I saw the ad today, or I think I did, which made me think, oh, maybe they sorted it out and that's finished and they are able now again to sell those, because it looked like they were having like, I could just go and check right now, but I thought I saw that they were advertising the Millennium Falcon kit, but I guess I can just check really quick and then we'll lay that to rest. Yeah, the kits do look really nice.
Oh yeah, they look super good.
No. Okay, I could be wrong, yeah, because it looks like maybe not. All right, yeah, maybe I was wrong about that. I do see, though, something that I hadn't seen before. You know, the Iron Blooded Orphans, like those character stands?
Right, they just announced a new one.
Yeah. For that.
For the purple hair guy.
Gylo? Something like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that before. Yeah, that's interesting. So anyway, I'm not planning on getting any other Star Wars kits at the moment. I love Star Wars, but I've also thought about getting the Sand Trooper. That one looks really nice. But other than that, not really. Not for any particular reason, just have plenty of other things to build. Let's see what else was going on in the chat. Some people were asking, do you think we'll get an RG, Shinanju, or Hainu Gundam? No, not really. Neither of those seem very probable, but
yeah. I mean, there's other things that seem a lot more probable than those two. A new Gundam is a possibility for real grade. I can see that happening.
That's the one I see a lot, is people like either predicting or asking for a real grade unicorn, and I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But
I don't think that's even possible.
Yeah, if they were going to do that, it definitely wouldn't transform, or I wouldn't even want to try to transform that thing.
Or it'd be some sort of parts former.
Yeah, I would not want to mess with that. And I don't think Bandai's even going to try to do that.
No.
Let's see. Someone asks, any thoughts on the other Gundams of the Iron Blooded Orphans show? I mean, we talked about that before. The other Gundams we know about so far is Kimaris and the Gushan.
Gushan looks like a frog.
And Kimaris, both of them are very unique designs. I'm not really too much of a fan of either of the designs, really, too much to be honest, but I'm sure seeing them in the anime will probably change my mind.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, like the Kimaris is just so odd. Someone had asked this a long time ago in the chat. I'm just remembering this question. I'll talk about it now. With the Barbatos's very skinny waist.
Right.
Doesn't bother me at all. What about you?
No. Honestly, it reminds me of Naoki's Zeta Gundam that's got the two hydraulics right at the waist there.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of like that. It is kind of jarring at first to see such a skinny waist, but doesn't really bother me from a design standpoint.
Yeah, me either. I mean, it's a giant, 60-foot robot. It's not going to be the most realistically designed thing. I mean, and if you look at like how it's designed, it honestly really kind of makes sense. The inner frame of the Barbatos does seem to be kind of like realistically designed as to how it would move and work. I mean, yeah, it's not the most protected when it comes to like combat, but another form later on down the line will probably fix that. But yeah, don't know. It doesn't bother me.
Almost has kind of an Astray feel to it with the minimal outer armor.
I just before we were doing this, I was just watching Mecha Gai Kotsu, right? His review of and he said that as well. That didn't come to mind to me at all, really, to be honest. It could be that I'm just not like a huge Astray fan, but I mean, I can see that, but the Astray, I don't really see it as like its armor is bare, because I just kind of see it for as it is. Like I don't really see the red part as like the inner workings, as like the frame, because usually on pretty much every other kit, the frame as we see it is kind of like that gray look. So because we're not seeing that like gray inner frame, it doesn't really feel or look like that to me. But I can see that. What do you guys think about Bandai's new Robot Damashi anime gimmick? You kind of touched on this.
Yeah, I think that we probably have too many Robot Damashi RX-78s, but other than that, they never made a normal Robot Damashi Char Zaku, did they? I think they just had a green Zaku.
Wrong person to ask on that one, but
yeah, I think this is the first time they're making a Robot Damashi of Char Zaku and Dom. But you know, it's kind of cool that they're going with the anime accurate look. So you know, some people are into that, some people aren't.
I think they look really nice. Yeah, to be honest, but it's like you said, I don't really want to spend like the $50
Right.
just the figure, but they do.
I do really like. Yeah, I do really like the effect parts they come with. Those are cool.
Yeah, I think so too. The effect part's really good, especially for the Zaku. The bazooka one looks really
But the
good.
smoke, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the Robot Damashi Zaku, but there's been a fixed figuration, hasn't there? Char Zaku too? No? The Xeon Graph.
Not Xenography. I'm not sure. I know they made an F2, I think.
I don't know.
I can't remember. That was like 10 years ago.
Someone asked, any thoughts on a 1144 Maganak kit? You just got, maybe, I guess the reason maybe why he's asking that is because you just got.
Yeah, I just sort of opened them up and kind of inspected the parts. They're fixed pose, really nice detail though. Still not sure what hobby show they come from, but actually look really similar to the B Club Maganak, which I also have. So
I think he's asking if we expect to ever get like basically a HG version of that kit.
If we did, it would be a long, long time down the road.
Yeah.
And even then, I think the possibility is very, very small. Almost zero.
It could just randomly come out of nowhere, but yeah. I mean, it have to be totally out of the blue.
If we see any high grades from Gundam Wing, it's probably going to end up being the main Gundams.
Yeah, but you know, in general, Gundam Wing, the enemy mobile suits have pretty much no love in any model kit form, pretty much at all, except for the Serpent Custom.
Yeah,
the one that has like a couple different model kit versions.
Yeah,
it was like the old LM kits of the Taurus
and the Leo, yeah, which were terrible kits. If anybody's watching this and you want to hunt those down and buy them, don't pay more than $20 for those kits. They're awful.
Good advice. I'll pass that along to if anyone ever asks me, because I get sometimes people asking me like, has there ever been a model kit of the Leo? Like, yeah, there was a LM once, but
Leo
they're very rare.
Bad. I was lucky enough to get mine for like $12, and even then, I think I paid too much for it.
It just wasn't worth it at all. I mean,
it's bad.
Isn't it? I mean, is it at least like buying like an old '80s kit that like? I mean, it's a pretty shit kit, but at least you know it has like that nostalgic look to it, kind of.
No, it doesn't even have a nostalgic look. It's like it's like the 1-to-144 scale no grades from Gundam Wing, but with like half the effort put into it.
Yeah.
It's like Bandai made it on a super low budget.
It's probably a good thing that that series didn't last for very long, because the Evangelion kits were pretty not good either.
Right.
Someone asked, what are your opinions on other Gundam channels? Other Gundam YouTube channels. And someone asked before if we know Robert 184. I don't know him personally. I've never talked with him personally. Do you? Have you ever talked to him?
No, neither have I.
I mean, I would have expected that. I mean, because both of you guys have both been around for quite a long time, so you never had any contact with him before?
No, I've never actually talked to him. So, I mean, I've talked to Prime 92 a couple times. I talked to Tool for Toys and Jabman on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know what other Gundam channels do you watch? Anything?
You know, I watch you know, the popular people like Zach and Jabman and Gunpla Fixation and all of those Gundam guys. You know, I don't always comment on every video, but you know, I watch most of them whenever they upload something. So.
And for whatever reason, anytime you comment on one of my videos, I can't comment back.
I still can't figure out what that issue is. I'll have people ask questions, like legitimate questions on my videos, and I want to answer, but there's no reply button.
Yeah, I hate that. It's so annoying. It's like, I feel really bad because I usually try to reply to almost every comment, especially if it's a question.
Right.
If it's just someone like, there's like no point to replying, then I won't. But like, yeah, it happens every now and then. Like, I get someone that asks like a question that's like a real legitimate question or like a really good point, something that I want to reply, and there's no reply button. Yeah, that can be troublesome. So yeah, if anyone's watching this, maybe check your settings or something like that, just to make sure if that happens to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same for me. I just kind of watch a little bit of everything, just if it's something that looks to my interest. Especially the channels that don't put out as much in terms of quantity. Like Jabman's a good example. He doesn't put out videos very often.
Yeah.
So that means I usually will watch every single one of his videos, but that's just because they're just very few and far between. So if I see a new one pop up, I'll watch it. Whereas like other channels that are maybe posting a lot more often, more frequently, I may not watch every single one, only if it's something that's more relevant to me that I want to watch. And just time constraints, like, right? Don't have time to watch everything.
Right.
There's always like some, I was gonna say like some other like BS video that I watch on YouTube. What else do you watch? There's a good question. What else do you watch on YouTube other than Gundam or Gunpla related stuff?
I love Epic Mealtime.
Oh, what?
I'm addicted to Epic Mealtime.
Oh, really? I went through a phase of watching a lot of those, but I'm really kind of tired of it at this point.
I actually watch a lot of cooking videos, a lot of Japanese cooking videos like Running 999 and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I also went through and just every now and then go through phases of watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay videos. That's pretty much it. I love Gordon Ramsay. But yeah, Epic Mealtime, just maybe like last week, I think I watched, it was like their 500th video or something like that.
Yeah.
I watched it. I got tricked. I'm assuming this was intentional on their part to get more views because it was titled like
it was their last video.
Yeah. So I watched it and I was like, yeah, I'm really just kind of tired of this at this point. It's like they know it's old and played out, and like they like play it off like, yeah, we know. There's no.
I guess it's more fresh for me because I haven't been watching it for very long. So
I think when I went through a phase of like watching a lot of it, that was maybe like 2 years ago or something. I think it was like maybe when I was living in Japan, so like 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, I watched it quite a bit during that time and just kind of moved on. I went through a phase of watching a lot of Angry Grandpa. But I've gotten away from watching that as well now. I watch Good Mythical More every now and then. Basically, if I'm on YouTube and I don't know what to watch, I'll just go to Good Mythical More and just pick a video of theirs. Or Good Mythical Morning, I should say.
Yeah. I also subscribe to The Joy of Painting, the Bob Ross videos.
Oh yeah, that's like new thing, right? It like just came up.
They have like the full episodes uploaded on YouTube, so sometimes I'll just flip that on and have that playing while I'm working on a kid or something.
Someone posed a question to you. Where is Gundog?
Gundog actually lives with my parents. So Gundog and Gundog Mark II are brother and sister. And so I didn't want to split them up because dogs get depressed when you split them up. So Gundog lives with my parents. But I'm over there all the time, so he gets to see me plenty.
My gun cats are just here. I should have named them Gun Cat. That would have been kind of funny, but pencil and nylon we'll just have to do. Someone asked, do you prefer parts formers, transforming kits, or actual like fully transformable kits? Personally, for me, I don't really care for transforming kits too much at all. I rarely transform kits that transform. That's just me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I prefer stability over having a full transformation. Before the video started, in the chat, we were talking about Macross kits, and the Hasegawa kits look really good, but they're not transformable, and they're about like high grade quality. Whereas the Bandai kit is fully transformable, but it's got all these really small, delicate parts. And I look at it and it reminds me of Master Grade Victory Gundam, so it's sort of a turn off for me.
That's a good example. Like in a Master Grade, I can see why they're fully. I mean, having a parts forming Master Grade would be kind of disappointing,
right?
Because it's a Master Grade. But yeah, there are a lot of master grades that do suffer because of that. Victory is a
Yeah.
good example.
It'll be interesting to see how Victory 2 turns out.
Hopefully they've reworked it quite a bit and made it a lot more stable.
Right.
We'll just have to see. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm the same way. I prefer it to just be a stable kit in its mobile suit mode, because ultimately you're not going to transform it that often. Like basically you're just going to put it into whatever form you want it to be in, and then that's how you're going to put it on your shelf or however you're going to display it, whatever.
Right.
So if it's a parts former, I mean, it's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
For me.
And some of them are more fun to transform than others. Like the Zeta Plus is not too hard to transform. It's fun. I enjoy it. Delta Plus, I hate.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it transforming Delta Plus.
Those, and it depends. I mean, like in some kits too, if it's a kit that I don't care for the transformed mode, the Wave Rider mode, or bird mode, or whatever it may be, then I just don't care to ever transform it at all. But if it's a kit that, I mean, it would have to be a kit that I like the transformed mode more than the mobile suit mode for me to do it anyway. So, I mean, like I said, I think that's a good example. Zeta Plus is one that I do really like. The transformed mode of that. The Wave Rider mode is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But to ever display one in that mode, I think I'd have to have two of them, because I still prefer just the regular mobile suit mode better. Are you planning on getting the V2? That's a good point.
Not right now, no. I've got enough stuff in my backlog that still needs to be worked on, so.
Yes. I will be getting it from my sponsor, I'm sure, probably, unless something happens between now and then. But if I wasn't getting it from them, I would be in the same case as you. It's not something that I would immediately jump at.
Right.
With it being a Verka kit, it would be hard to avoid buying in like a store or something, because the Verka kits are just like drugs, basically. The box art, when you're like at the store and you see that box art, it's very hard to avoid. But yeah, I don't know. Basically, what I'm really excited for and hoping for is that we're gonna get a P Bandai Assault Buster add-on set for it.
Right.
I hope
Might
so.
not even be P Bandai, because they did the V Dash as a standard release.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully, but just how Bandai's been recently with the amount of P Bandai, it's ramped up quite a bit since those days. So it's probably, I'm guessing it's going to be more chance of it being a P Bandai, but it's possible it could be just a standard release, and that would be nice. But we'll have to see.
As long as that P Bandai stuff keeps selling, they're going to keep making more and more of it.
Someone asked that in earlier, so I guess we could address that. Is just what do you think about the amount of P Bandai recently? It's been more increasing.
I don't really get angry as much as other people seem to, because if it's a kit I want, I'm gonna get it. I'm not gonna complain about it being P Bandai, because like Ultron EW, before it was even announced, I kind of figured it was going to be P Bandai, and I already said, I want this kit, so I have my website that I go to for P Bandai stuff, so it's really not that much of a problem. The only time it's really a problem is if it's a kit that came out a few years ago, and you decided you want it, and then at that point it's really hard to find.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the exact same way. Yeah, and it could be just due to the fact is that living here in Asia, close to Japan, it's not as bad for me, but I still have to get them through a third-party seller.
Right.
Korea has a version of that online, but it's more limited. The timing is weird. Stuff doesn't get like released at the same time, and then when the products actually come, they come out a little bit later. So it's not really, it's kind of a little bit more of a hassle. But anyway, I'm the same way. I don't really care if something is P Bandai or not. Obviously, it makes it a little bit more expensive, but if it's something I want, I'll either buy it or if it's too expensive, then I just won't buy it. It's really not that big of a deal.
Right. And usually P Bandai stuff isn't, as far as retail price goes, isn't much more than a standard release.
Yeah, right. And like you said, if you get it right away, if it's something you know you want, you just get it right away. Because then, like, if you're gonna have to get it later, it's gonna be more expensive. So,
right. And there's certainly things that don't make sense with P Bandai, like Astray Red Frame or Togi Story.
Yeah. The Master Grade Heavy Gundam is a good example. That if that was a standard release kit, I would probably buy that kit someday eventually. I wouldn't like be jumping to get it right away, but it is a pretty cool looking kit. But with it being a P Bandai kit, I was like, I'll just pass. Like it looks kind of cool, but not that much that I really want to get it like right away.
Yeah.
So if it's not something I want right away, then I'll just not get it.
Yeah, and I think kits like Heavy Gundam are good candidates for P Bandai, like the more obscure things, because not everybody knows what Heavy Gundam is.
Exactly. And you know, it could come someday like in Japan and add a secondhand store, and I'll see it there. Like a good price, I may buy it at that point. But
I remember,
yeah,
a little over a year, but it just sort of like they had a One Piece figure and some sort of robot figure that nobody had ever heard of, and it just sort of fizzled out.
What? Your audio cut out there for a second. I didn't hear the beginning of what you were saying.
Bandai had tried to start a P Bandai website in the U.S.
Oh, really?
But they only put like a One Piece figure and some sort of mecha figure that nobody had ever heard of on it, and it just sort of fizzled out. They didn't really pursue it very much, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, doing some sort of North American site would be good, but I think what a lot of people don't understand is just the Japanese culture aspect of that, of limited stuff in Japan, is what a lot of people don't really understand. Is that Bandai's, a lot of that is just playing to, it is just playing to the Japanese market. That Japanese people love this limited stuff, and like they don't see it as like, this is what's the point of buying that kit? I could just make it, just repaint it myself, right? It's just a color swap. But it's like, it's just the fact that it's a limited kit, is what makes it special. So I think that's something that kind of goes over people's heads a little bit too. Getting to just about 2 hours now. We could probably call it a day pretty soon. If anyone has any last questions, get them in. Someone here said, what are your thoughts on the Gundam Build Fighters Try series? We said that pretty much before.
Yeah.
Not really what to say.
I love Build Fighters. I thought Try was kind of, didn't live up to the first one.
Yeah, they were fun. I watched them all. Not a whole lot of substance, but it was cool. Especially it was cool to see a lot of like, especially designs that have never been animated before, or like haven't been animated for a long time.
Yeah.
See some screen time was probably the best part of it, really, just to pick out some cool designs that hadn't been seen for a long time.
Yeah. We'll see cameos.
So that was probably one of the best parts of that, and a lot of really cool custom parts, custom kits, I want to say. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Anything else?
I think that'll do it.
Yeah. Good time. Thank you guys for watching at this point. Let me check. We're now 62 people watching, so thank you guys all for watching. That's pretty good. It's quite a few people watching. I really appreciate that. Henry, thanks. It's been fun.
No problem.
Let's do it again.
Do it again sometime.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, we will. If you guys don't know, watch Gunpla Talk over on Jim's channel. Just need to do some plugging here for a moment, if I may, before we wrap up. Just today, we decided with those guys, it's not totally set in stone yet, but November 21st is going to be the next Gunpla Talk. So a couple weeks, 2 weeks from now will be our next Gunpla talk, and I think as of now, the topic of that conversation is going to be about Gunpla as art. So that should be pretty cool. Henry, you probably got some thoughts about that.
I think Gunpla is absolutely an art form.
Excuse me. So yeah, that should be good. Really good conversation about that. But again, the details of that are not set yet, but just want to give a little plug for that. So of course we'll be talking more about that later. Go on the Facebook page for Gunpla Talk to talk about that. Also, and I should mention that if any of you guys are wanting to enter in my contest giveaway, my 10,000 subscriber contests to win the perfect grade Wing Zero Custom here. You have just less than 24 hours left to enter that. So design a t-shirt and send that to me. I now have about 80 entries for that, so I need to choose my 3 favorites, and then you guys can choose the 4th winner for that, and then there's a couple other kits, 5 kits, so just under 24 hours left to enter that. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing live videos, so let's do it again later, Henry.
Will do.
Anything else you want to plug? Yeah. Plug your channel. I think everyone probably knows about it.
Other than that, I don't really have much to plug. So
yeah, follow us on Twitter too. Henry's on Twitter quite a lot more than I am. I don't really do much on Twitter, but
yeah, I'm on Twitter pretty much every day. So
so check him out there. I'm sure. I probably don't need to plug you too much because what can we say? A lot of us probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So anyway, thanks, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.